In 2015, Lars Klevberg directed a short film called Polaroid. The plot revolved around a teenager discovering an old Polaroid camera, and when the shutter was pressed while aimed at someone, something supernatural would happen. This would lead to the film characters seeing their own death in a way, sort of like Final Destination. In 2017, a feature film derived off of the 2015 short film was shot and produced, with a relatively high budget and a couple of recognizable cast members, including Catherine Prescott, who's most known for playing Emily on the show Skins, and Madeleine Pesht, who's known for playing Cheryl on Riverdale. The production of the film was handled by a studio named Dimension Films, who unfortunately went out of business in mid-2017. Nevertheless, the film was still set to release in August of that year. However, considering the fact that funding couldn't continue if the studio filed for bankruptcy, it was pulled from all theaters, with the trailer still playing in some. In 2018, a studio named Lantern Entertainment bought all of the rights to the film, along with all of the other films that Dimension was working on. So while it's likely that this will see a release in the future, it is uncertain, and as for right now, it has been unreleased. The 10 Things I Hate About Life is a reimagining of the 1990 film 10 Things I Hate About You. This romantic comedy revolved around a couple who were about to kill themselves, but meet and suddenly fall in love. Given their troubled past, they would try to create a relationship based on what they currently had, and experience all the ups and downs that life had to offer them. The film was supposed to release in 2014, but for unknown reasons, the production stopped relatively early on, with Evan Rachel Wood claiming that she didn't want to be involved with the project at all, especially considering the fact that producers hadn't paid her yet. Although in theory this film could release with an entirely new lead actress, it's unlikely that it would continue at this state, being that it was supposed to come out nearly 6 years ago. By the looks of it, the 10 Things I Hate About Life is seemingly cancelled forever. In 1983, animation legend Don Bluth decided to create a game called Dragon's Lair. It was revolutionary considering the game didn't use conventional graphics, but pre-created cutscenes. You would have to press buttons at specific times in order to have the character do specific actions. Dragon's Lair gained a lot of popularity in the arcades for two reasons. One being that it was one of the only arcade games that was seemingly beatable, and two, for its astonishing level of graphics and detail that other arcade games at the time didn't have. Back in the 1980s, it was thought to put together a Dragon's Lair film for future release. Unfortunately, this fell apart relatively early, but in 2015, Don Bluth himself created an Indiegogo campaign for a Dragon's Lair the movie that simply needed to reach $250,000. It was reached in 2016, however, very little of the project has been heard of since it was reached. Between the date this goal was reached in 2016 and this current day I'm recording this, October 31st, 2018, there have been less than 10 updates, with the newest update coming all the way back from February this year, almost 10 months ago. Now, this film reached over $700,000, which is 206% of its original goal, so naturally backers are looking for an explanation. What the hell is happening to Dragon's Lair the movie? And unfortunately, nobody seems to know. However, I was able to talk to an insider who wants to remain anonymous, and from what I've heard, this was meant to be a pitch video to a relatively big studio, and unfortunately the studio that Don Bluth pitched this video to had turned it down. Now, that's not to say that this film will never ever come out, because Don Bluth can pitch this to as many studios as he wants, and I'm sure one or two is going to want to pick up the slack and produce the movie in its full entirety. However, being that it's been nearly 10 months with no update, and Don Bluth himself has gone silent on the topic, this film looks as though it may as well just be cancelled.